Hello, all of you random jackasses. One random jackass to the rest. This is going to be my review of the Chris Reeve Small Sebenza 21. My particular sebenza has the insingo blade and silver hardware. Your mileage may vary depending on what model you go with. They usually don't come like this. You'd have to send it in to get the silver lugs put on. They usually come with a blue lug and just one. Also, they will not come with this lanyard. I had to buy this separately. They have a different lanyard with no titanium bead on it, and it's just a black cord. I personally like this a lot better, but that's what they come with. Now, I know there's going to be many reviews out there on this knife specifically because they say it is the yardstick to which all pocket knives are compared. And I'm going to kind of run with that a little bit. I'm going to use this knife as the size comparison to every other knife that I review on my channel, because the sebenza itself was my first grail knife, so it's gonna have a special place in my heart, and it's always gonna stick around. So this is what will be compared to everything else. Okay, so Chris Reeve was the inventor of the frame lock, so he does it well. He knows what he's doing. Let's go into what I like about this knife. What I like about this knife is the size and the materials. Well, most of the materials. I'm a sucker for titanium, so slabs are good. Pocket clip, good. Really, honestly, if we're talking about the pocket clip, let's go a little bit more in depth on the pocket clip. This pocket clip is pretty much perfect. Rides pretty nice and deep. If you have it in your pocket, you're up to there, but you still got enough to hold on to pull it out. And just the way it's bent, it goes in easy, it stays there, but it's got good retention. It's not going to fall out. Also, on the good side for this one is going to be the blade shape. I love the insingo blade. It's just so utilitarian. And the stonewash Chris Reeve does on his blades hides wear very well. And just with the insingo itself, when you're really getting into something and you're like opening up a box, just that grip is perfect. Also, on the good side, I would say, is the ease of sharpening of S35VN. It takes a keen edge, sharp. It's not going to hold it as well as like M390 or some of the super steels they have out there, but Chris Reeve worked with Crucible to design S35, and it's supposed to be like a worker steel. You know, you take the knife out, you use the knife, you can sharpen it yourself. You don't got to send it away to be sharpened. Some of the other steels out there, if you don't know what you're doing, you're not going to be able to sharpen it. Now, what I don't love about the knife is going to be the thumb studs take a little bit of getting used to. If you just pick up the knife, you're not going to really know how to open it. I mean, you can open it, but a lot of times they're going to put the thumb right on the stud and then open it that way, which you can do. But after a little while, you're going to develop what they call sebenza thumb. And that's a thing. You can kind of see it right there, a little indent in your thumb. And you end up getting a little callus. But what I've found is the more you open the knife and use the knife, you'll see what works for you. And in my case, if you kind of just run your thumb up against the side of the knife till you hit the thumb stud, it opens very smoothly. It's not all that pressure right on the pad of your thumb, kind of distributed throughout the whole stud. See? If you put your thumb right there, you have more surface area, so it's not digging right into the top of that nipple. That's how that works for me. Knife locks up like a bank vault. It's secure. It's not going anywhere. No wiggle room. Chris Reeve includes the tools to take it apart, put it back together, the grease to maintain it, the cloth to clean the blade. I like the logo. I like that the blade is sterile. It's just very clean. I could do without the Idaho made stamp. I mean, I get that, you know, pride of where it's made. It's made in the US. But I'd rather just have clean titanium. You know, put that in the box in your literature and keep everything stark, in my opinion, but that's just my opinion. Definitely, you know, they're going to be centered. It's a Chris Reeve. If you get one that's not centered, usually you can probably just play around with the pivot a little bit, tighten down different screws, put it back together, then it'll still have no play, and you can make it centered. You just got to fiddle around with it. Maybe the last guy didn't put it back together the right way. A negative, I would say, might be the price. You know, like $375, I think, is what these are going for, new. And that's without the upgrades or, you know, the lanyard I have on this, the double lugs. So they can be very expensive knives. And for S35 blade, that's not the best, but you're kind of paying for the name a little bit with this knife. It is a great knife, but I'd like it to come, if it came in at $300, it would be more of a steal, I would think. But getting close to $400 for a small, it's getting a little hard to justify. However, I'm never going to get rid of this knife. I love this knife. Your mileage may vary, especially on which one. There are so many sebenzas out there. I think I went through 4 or 5 before I got the one that I'm going to keep forever. I started with carbon fiber inlaid large, which it was beautiful. It didn't have the stonewash blade. It was a polished blade. But it was a knife that it was harder for me to use because of the polish on the blade. I couldn't really justify taking that knife out and using it for everything I want to use a knife for. I'd worried about scratching it, and so I ended up getting rid of that one. And the size, the large is just a little bit too big for me. I don't like to carry large knives usually. So that one went down the road. I had a small micarta drop point, which micarta is not for me. I had a small Wilson Combat drop point, which I love that knife too, but I like the insingo blade more than the drop point, which is why I got rid of that. I wouldn't be against getting this in a Wilson Combat edition because the milling is just beautiful. It's pretty, but you pay for it. That's getting up there again. I got this knife used, so I paid a lot less than you would straight from a dealer, which I kind of think is the way to go for Chris Reeve knives. If you can find one used first, do it. Chris Reeve has one of the best warranty systems I know of. You know, you send in a beat sebenza, it'll come back looking pretty much new. The only thing they don't touch on most of the time is going to be like if you have a blue thumb stud. Sorry about that. My cat is playing with his little elephant. Anyway, where was I? Oh, okay. If you send the your knife in, the only thing they're not going to touch is the anodization. If it wears off the thumb stud, they're not going to like re-anodize the thumb stud before they hand it back, which I wish they would, but I understand why they don't. You know, they just re-blast the handles, sharpen the blade, maybe give it another stone wash and send it back. That is something not the greatest on this knife, or bead blasting in general, actually. It does show snail trails pretty well. That can be a good thing or a bad thing if you're okay with using your knife and you want it to show wear. You know, it's pretty. There's something nice about that. However, I'm more of a fan of a stone wash. If you're going to do titanium, just do a stone wash titanium and it will last longer. It won't look as worn in as quickly. But that being said, Chris Reeve sebenza is a fantastic knife. Can be a little bit expensive for what you're getting. However, I feel it's worth the price, and this is a permanent in my collection. So I wouldn't hesitate to call this knife a gem, in my opinion. Alright, that's all I got for the small sebenza. Stay tuned for a couple of my other knives. They'll be coming down the pipeline shortly.